In the muted light of a dwindling autumn afternoon, the world seemed to withdraw into a shell of grayish hues and whispers of chill wind. Thomas, a somewhat reclusive man in his early 30s, sat alone at his favorite corner of the local cafe, a quaint, somewhat dilapidated spot that looked like it belonged to another era. His eyes, shadowed and introspective, were glued to the laptop screen before him, but his mind was far away, lost in the throes of grief. Just a week ago, his childhood friend, Michael, had died in a tragic car accident. The news had come like a bolt from the blue, shaking Thomas. The cafe, with its peeling paint and creaky wooden floorboards, seemed to resonate with Thomas's current state of mind. The barista, a middle-aged woman with a kind face, moved silently across the room, refilling cups with a practiced hand but always with a respectful distance, as if sensing the patron's need for solitude. Thomas and Michael had grown up together in this small town, their lives as intertwined as the overgrown ivy on the old brick walls of the library where they had spent countless hours. They were the quintessential pair of mischief-makers turned inseparable friends, who everyone thought would eventually grow old in this very town, forever part of its slowly unfolding story. As Thomas sipped his coffee, his phone buzzed. Expecting a reminder or an email, he glanced at it absent-mindedly. The screen lit up with a message that made his heart skip a beat. "Hey Tom, let's catch up. It's been too long." "Mike." Thomas stared at the message, his mind grappling with confusion and a rising dread. It had to be a cruel joke, someone using Michael's old number, he reasoned. Shaken, he typed a response, his fingers trembling slightly. "Who is this?" The reply came almost instantly. "It's Mike, who else would it be?" The conversation continued, each message from Michael twisting deeper into Thomas's psyche. The entity on the other end of the conversation shared memories only Michael would know, details of childhood escapades, shared secrets, even recalling the exact shade of the hideous tie Thomas wore at his 10th birthday party. The more they conversed, the more Thomas felt a cold unease settling over him. Driven by a mix of fear and desperate hope, Thomas decided to visit Michael's grave. The cemetery was on the outskirts of the town, a sprawling expanse bordered by gnarled trees that swayed mournfully in the wind. The sky was a canvas of darkening clouds as he walked among the tombstones, each step echoed by a crunch of dry leaves underfoot. Standing before Michael's grave, the freshly turned earth seemed stark against the faded grass, a vivid reminder of the reality of death. The tombstone bore his friend's name and the dates that bookmarked his short existence. As he stood there, his phone buzzed again. "Why are you at my grave, Tom? I'm not there. Check the old treehouse." Mike, chills ran down Thomas's spine. The treehouse, forgotten over time, a relic of their childhood, stood hidden by overgrown branches in the small patch of woods behind Michael's old house. With each step towards the old structure, Thomas felt the oppressive weight of the hanging branches, the wind's whispers now seeming like hushed warnings. The treehouse was exactly as he remembered, albeit more weathered and coated in moss. He climbed up the creaking ladder, each rung groaning under his weight. Inside, the air was musty, thick with the scent of decay and old memories. Then he saw it, an envelope on the wooden floor, its surface dusted and stained by time, addressed to him in Michael's handwriting. Inside the envelope, Thomas found a series of photographs and a letter. The pictures were recent, unmistakably showing Michael with unfamiliar, sinister-looking individuals, in settings that seemed both mundane and oddly secretive. The letter was worse. In it, Michael confessed to being part of a clandestine group, one that delved into forbidden, dark rituals that promised to transcend death and time. His involvement, he wrote, had started out of curiosity and escalated into something far beyond his control. The last lines chilled Thomas to his core. If you're reading this, it means things have gone terribly wrong. The world spun around Thomas as he tried to digest the implications. The messages, the grave, the letter, all pieces of a horrifying puzzle. As nightfall began to cloak the woods in darkness, Thomas's phone lit up once more. "Do you understand now, Tom? I had to tell someone. I'm sorry I chose you. Mike." The air grew colder, the wind harsher, and Thomas felt a presence beside him. Turning slowly, he saw nothing but the sway of the tree branches against the night sky. Yet the sensation of being watched, of being not alone, was overwhelming. With trembling hands, Thomas texted back. "What do you want from me, Mike?" The reply was almost instantaneous. "Just remember me, Tom. Remember me not for what I became, but for who I was. And be careful. They are watching now." The message ended there, and no further texts came through. Thomas left the treehouse, a sense of urgency propelling his steps. He knew his life had irrevocably changed. The normalcy of his small-town existence had been shattered, replaced by the knowledge of darker realms that lurked beneath the surface. As he walked back through the cemetery, The wind seemed to carry whispers, shadows flickering at the edge of his vision. Thomas knew he would never be free of the horror Michael's last message had imparted. The world seemed darker, more treacherous, and filled with unseen eyes. The story of Michael, the texts, and the dark revelations would haunt Thomas, a constant specter in his life. As he left the shadows of the cemetery, a part of him lingered, intertwined with the secrets now buried as deep as the friend he once knew. The lingering horror of what lay beyond death, of friendships that reach beyond the grave, would forever color the days of Thomas's life in shades darker than those of any passing season. The horrors ceased, but the echoes of those nightmarish visions lingered in Eliza's mind, a haunting reminder of the darkness she had faced, and overcome. Yet, in her heart, she knew the mirror's curse was lifted, its chain of terror broken by her courage and resolve. And in this newfound peace, Eliza found not just relief, but a deeper, more resilient strength.